Ever wonder what your day would be like with Boom Radio? Yep, us too. We don't think about nightmares.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is the BoomBar on Boom Radio NG. My name is Sola Rogers.
My name is Dolupo. Bid you a warm welcome to the bar this very interesting Tuesday afternoon. It's been like a few days, couple of days though. But
It's been over a week, man. We've not even broadcast the BoomBar in February at all. This is the very first episode of the BoomBar in February.
Anyway.
Oh yeah.
It's a very interesting day today, as there are a few things that we're going to be talking about. There are quite a few things that are being banned. People being, I'm trying to sound nice. People being people. I'm just putting it like that. People being people. Also, that if you, the EFCC is really in the news for a lot of arrests here and there. Also, there are a few announcements to make. AFCON is in the news. It's back tomorrow again with Nigeria. There are a few updates on that. Also, a few updates coming from FIFA and a few stories around the world. So sit back, relax as we get into today's show, pretty much. So now, it's very interesting that we're going to be talking about a few things. First things first, there was an announcement that was made yesterday that Nigeria has banned, apparently it was banned as far back as 2018, alcoholic beverages that are being dispensed, not produced, dispensed in sachets and PET bottles under 200 mils. And that actually, like, if you're around a lot, you know, in Nigeria, that's something that has suddenly become a thing. Tiny sachets of alcohol. Most of these things are actually the crude ones. They are the ones, because now that you think about it, you don't see expensive alcohol in these tiny containers, and then they have like, I don't know, 100, 150, I don't know what mils they are, but there's some really tiny bottles with all sorts of names, yeah? And now NAFDAC is saying, or NAFDAC had said, that as far back as 2018, there was a memorandum of understanding that was signed by NAFDAC and a few other companies, alcoholic beverages that make this company, that make this stuff, that they were going to give a 5-year period, safe period, basically, to phase out these issues, this product. Apparently, 5 years after, looks like 5 years, does it take that long? Because it's officially past 5 years now, from 2018. And now, NAFDAC is clamping down on a lot of people. They had started yesterday. We had carried the news yesterday of them going to Ota, Ogun State. And they're actually going to companies, bottling companies, alcoholic beverages companies, and they're just confiscating a lot of these things right from the company. There are also different places, really. There's also, I think there were about 2 or 3 companies were shut down in the east. Today, also, there's been a lot, they've been doing a lot of this around the country. I don't know how much of this thing sells in the north, but I know it is very, very prevalent here in the south.
Okay, I have questions and, of course, comments. And the very first thing that crossed my mind is whenever I hear about these bans, and some people say, oh, it's from the health perspective, oh, that is for your own good and all of that. I don't get it. If the alcoholic beverage is being banned because it is dispensed in sachets and 200 ml bottles and above.
No, less than 200 ml bottles.
Yeah, and above. They are also sold in bigger bottles and bigger containers.
And they're not banning those ones.
Exactly my point. Let me make it.
Okay.
If they are banning the ones that are sold in sachets and 200 ml bottles, and they are still being sold in bigger than 200 ml bottles, where's the sense in your ban?
Okay.
There's a popular brand that makes I don't want to mention the brand, but it was created as some kind of pesticide, and lately it has become the choice poison for a lot of Nigerians who decide to end it all. So the sales of that pesticide was banned in the small containers. So, but it is still being sold in the big containers. Make it make sense.
Okay, from my own angle, I actually think that when you look at the alcohol angle, I know that when I read the statement yesterday, they were talking about how very young people, the target was really young people and reducing the amount of alcohol intake they consume. Now, I think that where this idea is coming from is that when you have bigger bottles, automatically the sachets and the small bottles are cheaper. They're easier to quickly consume and move on from than the bigger bottles. So it is not as easily accessible. It is not as cheap. So automatically, I personally think that not so many people, yes, would we say that, yes, you probably have to save up more money. A child that maybe takes 200 naira to school, and this sachet is maybe 15 naira, 100 naira. It's easier to buy this than maybe when you now go to look for the big bottle now, they now say, it's 3,000 naira. It will take a lot for you to get that. And it's not even easily consumable and easily kept. So I think coming from that angle, there might actually be it might actually curb it a little bit.
Okay, I totally disagree with that. And I'm going to speak from my experience and, what I know as against what statistics is out there. So it doesn't mean I'm correct. But from where I stand, I think it's not a sensible move because it doesn't stop anything. Now, the thing about it is that the bigger the quantity of any brand, you want the brands that are sold in different variations of size, the cheaper it becomes. If you ban the sale of these things as sachet and 200 ml bottles, and tell me majorly because it's for environmental reasons. I know the health implications also, but for environmental reasons, because they are always littering the floor with those things. If you say that, I would say I get it. But if you say it's because if you force stop them from buying the smaller quantities, it will be hard for them. It's not true. So what they simply do, and what even we did when we were younger, is to pool our resources together. And you will find young men come together now, and women come together now and buy the big bottles. That's what I'm saying. This is reality here.
I think that makes sense, but I also still feel that it will actually still it would actually be a little bit of discouragement for a few people. Yes, if you don't find people to put resources together, what happens?
If you
You don't
don't
get
find people to put resources with, you will go for the unbranded ones. You see, we forget that you're talking about alcoholic beverages. Now, take it from the top. The properly distilled and aged ones are expensive because it takes many years for them to be produced. They're kept in a cask somewhere and all of that. So when they bring out a bottle, as we speak now, the popular brands are close to 100,000 naira, if not more, for a bottle, just one bottle of cognac or whiskey in Nigeria. As the very popular brands, no free adverts anymore, so I'm not going to mention them. Now, the less popular ones will go for half of that, and they are all imported. Then you go for a fraction of that for the locally made alcoholic beverages. Then you fall down to the category of the beers. Then you fall down to the category of these 200 ml and sachets that they're talking about. But people are forgetting that there's Goskolo and Ogogoro that are not branded. They don't care. They're not branded. They're sold, as you want it. They dispense them even in used pet bottles and even regular bottles. And whatever container you want to buy them from. And it's not regulated. It's not refined. It's not properly refined. This is the reality. This is the truth. This ban, I like it when they do things and they say they're planning things to protect people, protect us, and I get that. But this particular ban will achieve nothing, in my opinion. I really want them to come back with the stats maybe a year after to say, this is how much they've been able to stop people from drinking alcohol.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
You understand?
This ban works.
Based on what I know, and I'm speaking with a lot of authority on this, I know that it doesn't make any sense. If you want to curb people from drinking alcohol, then ban the alcohol outright. But saying that they can't buy small quantities, it will reduce.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see what this ban is going to do. Personally, I like it. It causes a
So
lot
I didn't
of
say
litter.
I didn't say I don't like it.
No, I get you.
I'm just looking at the
I'm
practicality of it.
saying
Do we make laws for law's sake, or do we make laws to achieve something? When the ban on styrofoam was pronounced, we jumped on top of it. We love it. But when you're banning people from buying alcohol at 200 or 300 naira or 150 per sachet, or 400, 500, 600 per less than 200 ml bottles, you are not stopping anything. You are just going to even force them to go and buy the worst kind of drinks that are out there that are not branded in any way, in any form and any shape. That's what it is. And usually this creates some kind of black market situation. Now, the registered distillers in Nigeria, they have a group called N8bn. Mm-hmm. They would play along because they get licensed and all of that. They would fall in line. But if you ever have time, maybe you make it to a place like Lagos Island or any major market in your city in Lagos, in Nigeria. The people who sell these things, they have like 1 billion brands. You would see them with all sorts of funny names, and those ones, you don't even know where they're being made from. You just know that they make it to the market. You understand? So you're just creating more business for them because those ones can't be regulated. So you now go and bust the people who are retailing. That's the only way you can eventually stop that. But you cannot stop the people who are selling ogogoro and the other things.
Anyway, we'll see. Definitely we'll see where all this is going to. Moving on from that. Anyway, Sha, if they catch you with small bottles, or you people that used to drink small, tiny bottles, if they catch you,
who is the day that's catching anybody?
Yeah, on your own.
NAFDAC has the manpower to go on the streets to stop people from drinking sachets.
Anyway,
oh God.
Let's move on quickly from that. Let's go on to a bit of EFCC. The EFCC is doing the okay, before the one that is pissing me off personally, not because it's a good thing, but you would wonder, or you would think that people are smarter than this. I'm not like saying that people should involve themselves in crime or anything, but at least credit us with some common sense, with a bit of sense in Nigeria. I don't think that we Nigerians are so dumb. I'm just saying. But before we get to that, we're still talking about the EFCC. Now, news broke yesterday that the EFCC had arrested a particular general overseer of Faith on the Rock Ministry International. That's such a mouthful. Theophilus Eboin. Now, why is the EFCC arresting a pastor, an apostle? There's alleging that he had committed about 1.3 billion naira fraud. Sorry, excuse me. Now, I have to ask a question before we go on. Am I the only one that thinks that there's some certain amount of money that, yes, the dollar is not doing great or naira is not doing great, yeah, but still, 1.3 billion naira is a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money. That's the question, right? It is a lot of money.
So, now, he had said they had arrested him because they said that this particular person had alleged that he was, that there were some grants coming from Ford Foundation to the tune of about $20 million. And that each person basically got people to pay as much as 1.8 million naira each to access this 20 million or $20 billion grant from Ford Foundation. Now, what I don't understand is, you say I should come and collect grant, Abi?
Mm-hmm.
But I have to pay you 1.8 million naira. If I have 1.8 million naira, I should not be looking for grant. I'm sorry. Anyway, that don't let me say it like that, because you never know what you want to do. But if an individual or an individual can gather up 1.8 million naira, I don't think that you're a broke person.
You're not. If you can raise 1.8 million, or you have it at your disposal and you're willing to gamble it away, you're not poor, you're not broke. You understand? There are people who 10% of that will change their life.
Yeah.
You won't believe it, but 10% of 180,000 naira will change some people's lives forever.
Yeah, I agree.
You can change 10 people's lives with 1.8 million naira. When you go check out people who are, hard-working traders who would require a little bit of funding to
you
scale,
see that their whole business is not up
changes.
to that. Yeah.
They're able to expand their business.
Yeah.
Like someone said, they will show you working. Like it's not, we don't want to the answer.
No.
Like you just go. It's a process, and there are several legitimate businesses, but you just need to do your own research properly. I am not going to mention any here.
Mm-hmm.
Before you say it's Dolupo that gave you business to do.
What's Dolupo's own? Am I the one that even made the statements? What's my own? Am I doing business?
Making it on your behalf.
Don't make it on my behalf.
This disclaimer is on behalf of Dolupo.
No. Please, whose voice did you hear? What's my own?
I
Please
don't know what she's talking about. But on a serious note, a man of God is someone that is trusted by his congregation. And he uses that, he capitalizes on that trust and manipulates his people, not just to even tell them false prophecies now, but now to even steal from them. The tithes and offerings were not enough. So he cooked up a so-called Ford Foundation grant.
Don't get it twisted. There is Ford Foundation.
One of the things that people should always do is to cross-check. Even the Bible said that you should check it. Abi? Mm-hmm. There's a verse where that says you should verify.
Test the spirit. Test the spirit.
So don't take everything you hear hook, line, and sinker. Test it. Go and confirm what they're saying. Go online. Is there a grant for churches in Nigeria or church members? Or just go and check. You get it, and be sure of the source again, because the guy could have gone as far as building a fake website. Anyway.
So the truth is that there's actually Ford Foundation, like Ford.
We know. I'm just talking
So
about the
now
so-called
the only issue
grants.
was that Ford Foundation had come out to say that they're not giving that him. They don't know him, nothing. They know nothing about it, and all that and all that. Sadly, he had duped people up until the tune of about almost 1.4 billion.
So if you put an average rate, let's say everybody that dropped 1.4
million.
Do you understand? That means
1.8 million.
it was able to get money from
1,000 people.
From about 1,000 people. Do you understand?
1.8 million.
And these are the real issues. Anyhow, we're belaboring this thing. Why I am happy is that he was arrested by the EFCC, and they have proof against him. So this looks like a case that will go well.
Because he has already collected the money. They're saying that about they also got about 5 houses from him. It looks like a very straightforward case because people gave him money.
Yeah.
There was
grant.
there's no grant coming from anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So why did you collect the money from people?
Even the grant that you have to pay money to activate self, that one a grant.
How do you get like I don't understand.
And again, my own pain is that most of these people might never get their monies back because we don't know how much they're going to recover from the guy's account.
He has already gotten 5 houses.
Yeah, if they decide to sell the houses, check his account and
they might
everything.
not recover everything.
That's the problem.
Of course, you will. This kind of someone that is a baller like that bought 5 houses probably has. So, is driving God knows what car and doing all sorts of things and all that. But it doesn't make sense. At the end of the day, I think that we should really use common sense. I think that common cannot say that you want to give a grant. How much is this grant that I have to pay 1.8 million naira? I have 1.8 million naira to give somebody else. No. Again, if I have that, I'm not looking for a grant. I'm sorry.
Again, we want to help people avoid this. Please, when it sounds too good to be true, it is. How is it possible? How much was he offering you for 1.8 million?
Do you get? That's my point. Like, except he's maybe offering you 1 billion.
I don't know. Even if he's offering, is it not too much? Like, really and truly,
it just looked or smelled like a scam from the get, and I don't know why people fall for it. I'm not going to.
The funny thing is, it's as if people don't learn.
No, people don't.
Especially Nigerians. You guys
people
don't
always looking
learn.
for. See, I also
every
think
month
that
there is one Ponzi scheme or the other.
I personally,
every month.
I don't want to sound like I'm being mean, but it almost sounds like we're so greedy. A lot of people are so greedy that we're looking for so much. There's so many get rich quick schemes, and people just jump on it. Because if it is not greed, I don't think anybody in their right senses that has 1.8 million naira to give somebody else should be able to part with it because of another. See, anybody can call anything. Even 1.8 million naira in Nigeria right now is not small money.
So, I was trying to, I got it back. I have an idea. A few years ago, the manufacturers of medicine in Nigeria, because we like to call it drugs a lot, the manufacturers of medicines, especially anti-malaria medicines, were distraught. Their drugs were being faked and people were dying. So they came up with a plan, and some of them did. They would put some kind of barcode or number on every brand. So when you buy, you will send an SMS, to their verified number, and it will tell you if that batch is real or not. And I think that thing worked, kind of. I think it worked. Except the criminals might have gotten smarter again, I don't know. But I think it worked. But I'm thinking in line with that, maybe, just maybe, the regulatory bodies, that's the central bank, the CBN, the anti-fraud, financial fraud agencies, the EFCC, and
the
police,
ICPC.
police fraud, anti-fraud unit, need to come up with some kind of a call center or contacts, maybe on
But the
social
question
media.
first starts with, when do people actually know if what they're doing is right or wrong?
No, I'm coming. I will answer that. Come up with some kind of a platform, website, social media platforms, verified, and constantly put it out there for people to verify business before they go into it. Do you understand? Like, for instance, if someone is going to be moving so much money, the CBN will know about it. They will know about it. Now, recently now, there's a link that they put out, the Security and Exchange Commission. It is said that there are billions of naira sitting there in the Nigerian exchange, belonging to many Nigerians. Some of them are dead, some of them are alive, and people don't even know. But there are billions, close to 200 billion naira or thereabout. And there's a link that they started sharing that if you click on this link and type a search your name or whatever, because someone might have bought shares for you and you didn't even know. Then there'll be a way for you to walk through the process to retrieve it. So I'm saying that we can create those kind of platforms also for fraud. Help Nigerians help themselves. They're not, so a lot of people are not that internet savvy, so that, and they are not that, I'm sorry, bright. God forgive me, but yes, they're not that bright. But for every business, when you start to regulate it through a system that people okay, someone says, oh, there's this new Russian company that they are giving people 500,000. If you give them 40,000, okay, what's the name? Give me the number. You quickly check. Do you understand? I wish it was something that I could afford to put up as an individual, because there's a way individuals can help too with technology so that people will be protected. 1.8 billion to one pastor is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
And it's a lot of pain and a lot of people, over 1,000 people crying right now because some people would have sold everything that they had to meet up with that money.
I agree. It's just a very, very sad situation. But anyway, we will see where this is going. We hope a few people actually get their monies. I'm still talking about money and the EFCC. This one is the one that is vexing me the most. Now, last week, the aviation minister had hinted when he had an interview talking about how the EFCC is looking into the dealings of his ministry in the past 8 years and the last minister of aviation and a few things. He didn't have a lot of great things to say about the ministry that he just started heading. Now, news now broke today that the former minister, Hadi Sirika, his brother has been arrested. And you're wondering, okay, his brother can be arrested for anything else, could be anybody. But this person has been arrested for an 8 billion naira aviation ministry probe.
Yeah, 8 billion naira. We're saying 1.8 billion is a lot of money for a pastor to scheme off his members of his church.
Now, the younger brother, in the name of, in fact, let me be very, immediate younger brother of the former minister, Hadi Sirika, same surname, who is a level 16 deputy director civil servant, has now been traced to have collected some monies from his older brother, who was the minister, where the older brother was accused of conspiracy, abuse of office, diversion of public funds, contract inflation, criminal breach of trust, and money laundering amounting to about 8 billion naira. EFCC had said that the sum is for about 4 aviation contracts known that was supposed to be executed by Nigeria Limited that is owned by his younger brother. It said that Hadi Sirika is listed as the MD CEO of the company The company has 2 accounts, and this Abubakar Sirika is the sole signatory to these 2 accounts. Also, keep in mind that this brother has been a deputy director on level 16 in the Federal Ministry of Water Resources since 2000. Now, it's said that the first of the contracts was the construction of a terminal building at the Katsina Airport, which cost about 1.3 billion. The second was awarded in November 3, 2022 for the establishment of fire truck maintenance and refurbishment center in the same Katsina Airport for 3.8 billion. The third contract for February 3, 2023 for the procurement and installments of lifts, air conditioners, and power generator house in the Aviation House in Abuja, costing 615 million, while the fourth, May 5th, 2023. This was just a few days before the former minister was leaving office, for the procurement of Magnus aircraft and simulator for the Nigeria College Aviation Technology that cost about 2.2 billion naira. It said that the total contract, out of the total contract sum, the former minister has paid about 3.2 billion naira to his brother's company, who, upon receipt of the payment, transferred it to different companies and individuals, and no trace of work of any of these contract items have been done till date.
Yeah. So transparency is the issue.
That even makes it worse.
You know, this is a very, very, very sad situation, but it's not a new situation. You understand? We're at a place where people are breaking several laws, and there's no checks, no
Like
nothing.
back to back to back to back.
Again, I say it and I say it. None of us in this studio will receive such monies in their accounts without it being flagged.
It's a company account now.
Even in your company account, there's a limit to the monies that can go in and out without it being reported to the anti-fraud agencies. That's what I'm trying to say. That they put checks, there are laws in place. So how is it that they never get called? 2, a serving civil servant is not meant to open a company, register a company, or run a business. 3, not only does he open a company, the company starts to get contracts from the same government. 4, the contracts are issued. 1, 2, they're not delivered. He still gets the 3rd and the 4th. What exactly is going on? How is it possible that all of this is happening and nobody caught wind of it? Do you understand? And the new set of ministers come in. Someone says pay money to an account for a project supervisor, and there are leaks all over. But there are no leaks of a 8 billion collectively, cumulatively 8 billion transaction between brothers. It tells you that the corruption spreads wide. There's a massive network of people who are involved.
I agree.
And they are happy, so there will be no leaks. When they're disgruntled, there will be leaks. How is it possible? How?
Let's break it down. First things first. Like you had said, you open an account with your immediate brother, who is the signatory to this account, who was the MD CEO of this company. Let's even start from the fact that the jobs were not done. Because I think to a large extent, I'm not saying that is right, but I feel that if these jobs were done, I think that it's not good, but if a lot of things might have even been overlooked.
Yeah.
But you get paid, you didn't do the job. A job you were not supposed to get in the first place. There are levels to and levels and level of levels of criminality. You work as a civil servant. You own a company. Your company is collecting jobs from the government, and you're not doing it. Make it make sense. And see, I'm not trying to glorify crime or anything, but even if you people were going to do what you were going to do, couldn't you get somebody else? Did it have to be your immediate younger brother? Like, how dumb do you think Nigerians are? Like, how dumb do you think? I don't even think the EFCC even had to do anything so much. Which, like you had said, there's also something that we also need to talk about. The fact that bank accounts have been indicted in this. How come the banks are allowing so much money pass through them without proper flagging?
Again, don't they have monitoring units in all these ministries? Oh, they can't do anything because it's the minister's brother, so they have to look away. And there's no whistleblower or whistleblowing system in place because contracts have been awarded. One of the things that I'm trying to talk about here is transparency. Like, if I am the House of Rep member, where that airport falls under in Katsina, or I am the senator, I should know about this contract.
Yeah, So somebody was also sleeping on their oversight function.
Be wondering like, okay,
then,
how come?
Why is it Katsina? How many planes have I even landed in Katsina?
No, they could have done their feasibility. Me, I won't even delve into that. Another thing is there's an aviation subcommittee in the House of Reps and all of that.
And the Senate, what are
they
doing?
Supposed to know about these things. Then the is it the Accountant General's office or somewhere in
somebody
the
had been
presidency?
paying this money. Shouldn't you have
there should be
added
several
two and two
checks
together?
and balances
His
in
name
place.
is literally there. They didn't even change name. His name is there. They have the same surname. It's his immediate younger brother. Somebody somewhere should have.
You know how by law you're supposed to publicize contracts. You're supposed to come out to say we want to give this contract out, so there's a tenders system, right? I think it's the same way contracts that have been awarded should be published on a regular, online, offline, everywhere. Oh, last month we gave out 200 contracts to all these companies. If it's in your neighborhood, go and check. Send us images, let us know. I would gladly do that for free. Because if that development comes to my neighborhood, that means the quality of life would improve one way or the other. There'll be local jobs. But when people take money and they don't do anything, and they're so bold enough to just stand around like nothing is going to happen, again, kudos to the government. They need to continue to empower these agencies to do their work without interference.
Yeah, it really, really doesn't make any sense at the end of the day. But we definitely will follow this particular story because it's very interesting here. I hope that they also, the EFCC and all that, they also, what's the word now? They find out a lot more of this spaces. It's time to actually look into the dealings of each ministry in the past 8, 12, 16, Yes, let's see what has really been going on. It really we'll see where all that is going to. Anyway, but quickly, let's move on from that. Just an announcement, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency I've been saying that there's going to be a 3-day dust haze from today. I think the dust haze started since like last week. I'm not even lying because the weather has been horribly harsh, really. Anyway, they said that there'll be dust haze, so everybody should be careful.
So this morning when I stepped out for a walk, I saw a lady, an older woman, come out of a compound, and she was all decked up, like she had a face mask. She had mufflers.
It was really.
She had
it's
denim
really being,
and sweater
and it's one thing to be cold. There's also this cold and dryness that is coming with it.
And I said to myself, "Oh, she's really protecting herself. She must be feeling it." I saw her walking gingerly, so I said, "Oh my God," and she's probably looking at me with my shorts and my sleeveless, like, "Okay, are you in this town?" But the reason why I brought that up is to say that, look, protect yourself as much as you can, especially when you're going to sleep at night or when you're stepping out of the house. You have to wear it because the dryness is also throwing up a lot of dust, and it's causing a lot of sickness. People are actually falling ill.
Yeah.
There's even some research by the American University and here in Nigeria, and they're talking about how this change of weather is really affecting people.
Yeah.
So please,
as the flu is out, people just need to be
let us
careful.
protect ourselves and don't spread panic again. It's what we call harmattan.
Yeah, it's just funny how there's this much harmattan in February and we didn't have it in December. But anyway, it is what it is. Just go with the flow and please be safe out there. Now, talking about illnesses, yeah, there are a lot of things we're going to talk about, but I just feel that it's worthy of speaking about. That the new, because pretty new actually when you think about it, it's not even up 2 years that he's been the king of England has now been confirmed to have prostate cancer. Barely 18 months after he became king, and he has been waiting to be king since like forever. And now the man is ill.
Well, this is one topic that I can relate to, being a man and noticing that it's prevalent now. A lot of the older you get, the more susceptible or exposed you are to this. The funny thing is, research. There's some research. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it, but this is a serious matter. Now, the black man is even more prone to have this than someone who is white. Then apart from that, especially if there's a history of it in your family, but apart from that, there are actually some research, that was carried out. I read one Harvard report a few days ago. I've read one or two other. I've watched a couple of videos, trying to get credible sources as to the things that men could do to prevent it or avoid getting it, or reduce the risk of it. And there's a video that is now going round. I think a radio station in Lagos took it up, and they had a discussion about it. And one of the doctor that was invited as a resource person, was bold enough to bring out this report, because I've read it several times. Men need to ejaculate at least 21 times in a month. In a month. 21.
But when you really think about it,
You see, she laughed.
It could be 3-4 times a day. So
Yeah, right.
you might not. No, what I mean is that so it doesn't have to be like 21 days when you think about it.
Yeah, 21 times. So the first instinct was for her to laugh. And I'm not calling her out. It's just normal. Really, 21. And where are the women now that will help their husbands with these 21 ejaculations, especially with the condition of the country, amongst other things and all of that? So the men are caught between a rock and a hard place. 21 ejaculations. Some science people will tell you otherwise, but I have actually been reading a lot about it. And men, we've been snookered.
Anyway,
this is a serious matter.
I think it is a serious matter.
And Prince Charles is going to have the very best of medical attention.
Oh yeah,
and I hope he survives it. I hope he pulls through.
The Prime Minister talked about how it has been caught early, so to a large extent, he's looking like he's in a good stead. But also the palace had also announced that he's going to be stepping back for now from a lot of duties, and his hair will be doing a lot more for him now, doing a lot more representation for him as expected. And there's also the talks of his second son actually flying in to come check on his father.
That's good. That's nice.
I think that's good.
Family first.
But I don't know if this is appropriate, but I'm like, this man waited so long to become a
I don't think that has anything to do with anything.
It's just I don't know if it's going to stay that long.
It's men and their potential fate. Like it's just that, but don't give up. There's also talk of exercising and eating a lot of vegetables and how things can be, avoided. So
Yeah, more like avoided than. But anyway, we'll see where all that is going to. Also, I saw news today, and I think that is something that needs to be really looked into. I know last week, was it last week or the week before? It was news about this as well. Now there's another news. In India, same India, where I think it was about a week or two ago, where there was talks of a firework factory explosion that killed a couple of people. Again, this morning, there's another news about 8 dead and about 80 people being injured in another fireworks factory explosion. So, India seems to be a country where a lot of fireworks are being produced.
So, for me, you start to think this is one too many. Like, how much of a coincidence is this? So, is there sabotage, or are they dropping their standards on safety? Is there a safety issue that's causing this, or is there some kind of sabotage going on? This, if I was in government, those are the two things that I'll be looking at. But it's important to, because it's, people will tell you it's business and all of that. Yeah, the manufacturers are also investing in the business, and fireworks are a big deal across the world. You know, everybody likes fireworks, almost everybody. So I just hope that they're able to do some kind of investigation to find out what it is, and save more lives from being lost. Because these are hardworking people who have gone to work, and here they are now, being exposed to all sorts of hazards.
Yeah. So let's come back to Nigeria, where the police has announced that a particular inspector is on the run, and he's being wanted for murder. How interesting. You would not think that the police will say that somebody else is wanted for murder. Their own, let's put it like this. You think that at least, but now they're saying that this particular inspector is on the run. Police in Anambra has declared a police inspector in the name of Audu Umadefu wanted. Said that he has now been declared a fugitive, and they're saying that anybody that has any information around him about this particular person should please come forward. Even though the police inspector did not give details on the alleged murder, but they are saying that this person shall kill somebody.
All right, let's hope that they catch him. I really hope that they catch him, and that he's also brought to book, like we like to say.
Yeah, it's also like brought to book. Now, quickly before we go, let's talk a bit of sports before we come back to other things. AFCON continues tomorrow. It is the semi-finals that is going down tomorrow. Everybody is playing tomorrow. I think Nigeria, South Africa is played at 6 p.m. tomorrow, and I think the second one, Ivory Coast and Democratic Republic of Congo, are playing at 9 p.m. tomorrow. There's been a lot of talks back and forth. The Nigerian coach, talked about how I think Joe Aribo and Iheanacho are not going to be playing. There was also a report that was yesterday that Victor Osimhen had not traveled with the rest of the team, but that he was going to join them if he felt better as at this morning. A few people have talked about how he joined them, but there's no official statement to that effect yet. So we do not know what if he would actually join them or not. I think it's a game that everybody needs to be on top of it, but it is what it is. But also, AFCON has now also disclosed that for anybody that pulls through from the semifinals are guaranteed a sum of about $4 million.
Yeah, that's the prize money for making it that far. And if you win, you get more money.
Yeah, I think it's about $7 million. I think it's amazing. It's also, whether we like it or not, I think that it's a lot of motivation. money can be some very interesting motivation for a lot of people. Also, a bit of news from FIFA, as FIFA has now announced the World Cup opening and final venues for the World Cup 2026. They released the schedule and fixture date for 2026.
Yeah, interesting news. That shows that people should start gearing up.
And remember that this
it.
is the first one that they're going to be 48 teams. So it's going to be, and then this is the one in the, that's going to have, I think it's going to be played in the US, Mexico, and Canada. So yeah, there's going to be a lot. It's official. The World Cup 2026 is going to start in June, on June 11th, 2026, at the Azteca Stadium in Mexico. So that is that for a bit of sports. Just wanted to put that out there. Now there's an update on something that we had talked about a few weeks ago, and this was talk of a particular cult leader that was arrested. Remember people that they had talked about, people that were what's the word now, people that were going on hunger strike, and they had died. They had found people's dead bodies in bushes and all that. So it was such a very, very gory story. Now the country has announced, because the country actually took it up, Kenya took it up on itself, and now the cult leader, as they're calling it, has now been charged with the murder of 191 children.
People don't follow history. But carry on. I think you wanted to add something.
Yes, and even though they're saying that there are a lot more people that that were buried in the forest, but there were 191 children, and he's now being charged with capital murder of these children.
This thing that happened in Kenya has happened in America, has happened in different parts of the world. I'm glad that they're calling it a cult and not a church, but what's the difference at some point in time? Because this is what they hide behind. Please, train your children right. Empower them. Teach them resilience, and let their minds be broad. Let them learn so that they won't be gullible. A man asked people to go on hunger strike.
I don't know. See,
and he's alive.
Except you tell me that is jazz. How you will tell me to go on hunger strike to the extent of starving yourself to death? Because it gets to a point that you know that I cannot take this hunger anymore.
When the worms start to bite.
Do you understand? You're like, see, let's. But he's in his house, he's eating, he's doing fine, and over 400 dead bodies were found.
I had the gist of someone who was supposed to be fasting and ordered pizza and told the pizza, there's always a request of toppings or whatever, and there's a way the person asks for the delivery.
I think I saw it that. I think I saw something like that. I'm supposed to be on a diet, so don't knock. I'm supposed to be on a diet.
Survival instinct should kick in.
So I except somebody's going to explain to me, because I don't know. I don't think any form of, there's a level of brainwashing that will get to a point where you will starve yourself to death. It is preposterous. It is ridiculous. It's sad, because the sad part now is that, yes, is he going to be charged? Yes, Kenya is taking it to a whole new level. They're charging him with terrorism and manslaughter and all that. But over 400 people are dead. Over 400 people. We need to be careful with the kind of things that happen. Now, quickly before we go, Nigerian artist Ruga, there was news last week that he has left his what's the word now? He has left his record label, Jones in World. Now he has announced, I think, his own record label that he calls Blown Boy.
Ruga, extremely talented. I'm glad that he didn't leave on a rancorous note. No matter what people said, he put out a tweet today acknowledging the help that he got from Jones in World and the Prince Maven, who also happens to be Don Jazz's younger brother. and he's the one that brought Rema and Uga to the spotlight. So kudos to him. I hope he gets it right, because it's always like the normal thing for Nigerian artists.
Yeah.
Once they get to one level,
big,
they want to own a record label. And
unfortunately,
there's a lot that goes into owning a record
Yeah.
label. But I hope he gets it right.
I really hope so. Because we've seen a lot of people, only a few people get to bust out. Hope that for someone like him, for someone like Wizkid, for someone like Akis Daniel that bust out of their record labels and they actually became way bigger than they were before.
But those record labels are not record labels. I like Wizkid, I like Akis Daniel a lot. And they're really record labels.
I think EME was.
No, Wizkid starting his own record label. Where is it?
Oh. Everybody shall bust out on his own and he's doing really well.
That's why I'm saying that you can leave a record label, become an independent artist, and sign distribution deals, own your own music rights and everything, without saying that you're starting a record label. A record label is a lot. A record label
but they claim they have record labels now.
That's what I'm saying. Claim. And how many of them are functional? How many
I remember
of them,
even
how many of them
signed
are
up
amazing?
a lot. He signed up. Wizkid signed up a few people.
Where are
at some
they?
point.
That's my point. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with living where you were.
No, I get what you're saying.
Bust out, but be independent and, sign these deals and all of that. But when you say you're a record label, how many artists are you going to sign on? How many of those structures are you going to put in place?
Yeah, but sad part is we've also seen, I don't want to mention names, but there are a lot of people that were saying leave their record labels and they're not doing as well as they used to. In fact, there are more of those people. But we hope that he knows what he's doing and he does it really, really well. Finally, before we go, news broke yesterday that Governor Sola of Lagos State had established a diaspora office, basically replicated what the Nigerian Diaspora Commission is, what the federal government established. Now there is one specifically for Lagos State and Lagos State citizens.
Eco-federal, that's what they call it. Lagos is a country.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think that it's something that we say a lot. The federal can't do everything. I think that it will be easier if states actually connect. The less people, that means that there will be 36 different of those offices, more people to interact with people. I think that it would actually be a good thing if all states can replicate this. Sorry. Anyway, on that note, that's all we have to take today on the bar. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow at 3 p.m. West African time. Have a beautiful